When do you think SpaceX will land a human being on Mars?
Best case is about 5 years, worst case 10 years.
For as long as humans have gazed at the stars, the idea of living on other planets has captured our imagination. Now, with the prospect of establishing a human presence on Mars becoming more tangible, a new question arises. Who gets to make the laws on the red planet? Will it be governments from Earth, international collaborations, or a newly formed authority representing Martian settlers? As we contemplate the colonization of Mars, we must grapple with the complexities of legal authority, representation, and the fundamental principles that will govern this uncharted territory. Join us on a journey to explore the future lawmakers of Mars and the fascinating dynamics that will shape the legal landscape of our celestial neighbor. The idea of a manned mission to Mars isn't exactly a fresh one. NASA has been seriously considering it for decades. Back in 1969, merely 2 weeks after successfully landing men on the moon, they put forward a plan to the White House about sending people to Mars. However, as you might expect, it never materialized. Similar proposals by Presidents George H.W. Bush, George W. Bush, and Barack Obama also ended up being canceled due to shifts in political power. Now, enter Elon Musk. He seems to be on an unstoppable trajectory, driven perhaps by his staggering net worth of nearly $200 billion, 8 times the annual budget of NASA. Predictions from an asset management firm suggest he might even become the world's first trillionaire by the middle of this decade. And get this, Musk isn't just thinking about a Mars mission. He's dreaming big, talking about landing 1 million people on Mars by the 2060s. Wild, right? His plan involves deploying a fleet of 1,000 reusable spaceships, each capable of carrying 100 people. Picture this, 10 successive waves of these 1,000 ships. The goal? Establishing a base that would gradually grow into a city, eventually becoming a full-fledged metropolis on Mars. Now, here's the kicker. Can individuals simply embark on this cosmic colonization venture? The question isn't just about physical capability, but also the legality of it all. Can someone with a rocket head into space and do as they please? Start mining operations, establish a government, or, worst-case scenario, initiate a conflict? Is space essentially a lawless domain, akin to a free-for-all purge? Or are there regulations in place? And if so, who's responsible for making and enforcing these rules? It's a captivating, complex issue that intertwines the realms of exploration, governance, and law in the uncharted territories of space. You know, it's fascinating to discover that space law is a thing, not just a sci-fi concept. The United Nations took this seriously and adopted 5 international treaties to lay down the rules for how countries should behave in space. The big player in this lineup is the Outer Space Treaty, inked during the late 60s. Now, this treaty is a big deal. It's like a guidebook that countries agreed upon to navigate the exploration and use of outer space. Picture this, the late 60s, a time when the world was on edge. The thrill of the atomic age had faded, and nuclear power was causing more anxiety than awe in the public's mind. Remember the Cuban Missile Crisis just a few years prior? That was arguably the pinnacle of the Cold War, with tensions soaring between the United States and Russia. Given the paranoia and the looming specter of war in space, the drafters of the Outer Space Treaty went the extra mile. Think about it. Every major military power was on edge, worried about another nation taking the lead in space dominance. This fear was like rocket fuel for the space race. But amidst all this, there was a pressing need for a global agreement on how to peacefully deal with the challenges and opportunities that space presented. So, when you delve into space law, you're not just talking about legal jargon in a vacuum. It's about a collective effort by nations to come together during a tense time, to set the ground rules for exploring the great unknown. Quite a story behind what might seem like a dry legal document, don't you think? The Outer Space Treaty lays down some clear ground rules. It puts a firm stop to countries planting weapons of mass destruction in space and interfering with each other's space activities. But perhaps the most pivotal point is that it states outer space, including celestial bodies like the Sun, Moon, and other planets, can't be claimed as national territories. So, if a NASA astronaut plants a US flag on Mars, it's a symbolic gesture. The US can't claim Mars or any part of it. Space is for everyone. Now, this notion sparks an interesting debate. Does space lie beyond all current national jurisdictions we're familiar with? There's always someone delighted about that idea. Case in point, SpaceX, in 2019, added a mind-boggling clause to its terms of service. It's quite the libertarian fantasy. Here's the gist. When SpaceX provides services on or around Earth, they play by Earth's rules. All good, till there. But then, it gets wild. Once their ship leaves Earth's orbit, they claim Mars as a free planet. According to them, no Earth-based government has authority over activities on Mars. And here's the kicker. They plan to make up the laws as they go. Elon Musk seems to suggest that beyond the moon, it's a legal void, a place where anyone can do as they please, provided they have the means and the tech to navigate deep space. Sounds liberating, right? Well, it's not that straightforward. There are complexities and ethical concerns about creating a sort of Wild West in space. While Musk's vision is bold, the legal and ethical implications of an unregulated space frontier are far-reaching and require careful consideration. You've hit a key point there. Article 8 of the Outer Space Treaty indeed emphasizes that countries maintain jurisdiction over the things and people they send into space. So, if a vessel is registered in the United States, leaving Earth doesn't change that jurisdiction. This setup isn't entirely new. It mirrors how nations have dealt with oceans for centuries. The seas are a shared resource, much like space. No one owns them. However, if you commit a crime on a ship, the country you belong to or the country the ship is registered to can prosecute you. For serious offenses like murder or piracy, any country might step in. Now, in space, this jurisdictional tangle extends to the International Space Station. Since it's made up of vessels from different countries, they had to hammer out an agreement. Essentially, each country retains jurisdiction over its astronauts aboard the station. So, for Elon Musk or anyone else to escape all government jurisdictions, they'd need to launch a vessel unaffiliated with any country, crewed by individuals not tied to any government. Space lawyers have tried to tackle these issues, but it's far from a neatly resolved situation up there. Thinking back to the 1967 Outer Space Treaty was signed 2 years before anyone stepped foot on the moon. Back then, the 60s were a different era. They didn't anticipate it applying to a private citizen attempting to relocate a population the size of San Francisco and Berkeley combined to an alien planet. Attempts have been made to update space law for the 21st century, but major disagreements persist, especially regarding whether extracting resources for profit is permissible. The big question hovering over all this: can Mars be profitable? It's a complex and contentious debate, and profitability in space exploration remains an uncertain frontier. Mars is a bit of a mystery box for us. We've sent 9 unmanned missions there, and if we count a Soviet lander that kind of called it quits after just 20 seconds, that makes it 10. But each of these missions is a big deal, because they're stepping stones toward the day we can send humans there. Picture this: humans walking on the Martian surface, kicking up a little red dust. That's the dream. Right now, there are 4 active missions on Mars. We've got the InSight lander basically giving Mars a full checkup, looking at its crust, mantle, and core. Then there's Curiosity and Perseverance, our trusty rovers, out there collecting rock samples, sniffing around for signs of life, and even testing how we can make oxygen on Mars. Tianwen-1, it's like a detective, mapping the surface, studying soil, and checking out the ionosphere. Remember Opportunity. It got caught in a monstrous dust storm back in 2018 and lost contact with us. We owe it big time for its mission and sacrifice. We'll always remember that little trooper. But here's the thing. As sophisticated as these robots are, they're no match for human astronauts. These rovers and landers can only tell us so much. The deepest drill holes we've managed on Mars are only about 2.5 inches deep. Back in 2008, Phoenix found ice on Mars, and since then, we've discovered a whole lot more. Those ice caps? Enough to drown the entire planet in 115 feet of water. And there's probably more of it hiding in the soil. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Water on Mars isn't just for sipping or watering crops. It's a gold mine for making rocket fuel. We can split it into hydrogen and oxygen, perfect for jetting around the cosmos. Plus, Mars has a bunch of other elements we could use, like carbon dioxide in the air that could be turned into fuel and plastics. And let's not forget about all that aluminium, magnesium, silicon, titanium, and iron lying around. Speaking of which, that rusty color of Mars? Yes, that's iron oxide doing its thing. It's looking promising that Mars might have treasures like copper, nickel, and platinum group elements. Imagine settlers mining these resources to craft parts, habitats, tools, and spacecraft right there on the red planet. But here's the hitch. Getting these minerals back to Earth? That's a whole other ballgame. As much as we'd love to start interplanetary trade, scientists haven't stumbled upon anything on Mars worth shipping back that'd make mining there worthwhile. Even Elon Musk, the space enthusiast, thinks it's not financially savvy to haul ore from Mars. It's expensive to move any mass from another planet into space. Plus, the minerals we might find on Mars, they could potentially exist elsewhere, like nearby asteroids, without the hefty cost of digging them up from Mars' surface. Jeff Bezos, Musk's rival in the space race, isn't too keen on Mars either. Musk, however, has this vision of a Martian colony making money in a quirky way, through lawyers. He believes that settling on Mars could breed innovation. The plan? Sell trademarks, patents, and copyrights of inventions back to Earth. With the brightest minds relocating to Mars, it could become a hotbed of innovation. But here's the kicker. Musk wants Mars to operate independently from any Earth government. He's had his fair share of clashes with regulations here, so he's not looking to tone down on Mars. Essentially, he's aiming for Mars to have its laws and governance, ensuring no Earth government can boss them around. So Musk's vision for Mars is a place where Earth's rules don't apply, but if you mess with a trademark or patent from Mars, expect a call from attorneys, representing an alien planet. It's an ambitious plan, turning Mars into an innovation hub while keeping it fiercely independent from Earth's regulations. Who do you think should hold the legal authority on Mars? Share your opinion in the comments below.